I'm Mike Morris, the Chairman, President, and Chief Executive Officer of American Electric Power Company, and we're here today to join with many other people to discuss one of the country's, if not the world's, greatest issues, and that's how we'll continue to realize the electrification of the world energy demand cycle while at the same time balancing the huge challenge that we have with the ongoing events called global warming. I hope today, along with some of my colleagues here, we'll have an open and honest discussion about this issue because the answers are at hand. They are technologically driven. However, they are not inexpensive, and the world needs to adjust to that. Here in our country in particular, we need to understand the financial challenge that this might place upon the electric consumer in every state and in every corner. Once society begins to appreciate that undertaking and will address it in an honest way, then we really can move forward. I'm convinced that American Electric Power, we will demonstrate that one can capture carbon in the generation of coal-fired power production. I'm convinced that carbon capture and storage, a technology that's nascent, will prove to be demonstrable and cost-effective at the end of the day. It, combined with renewables, combined with an interstate electric transmission grid, that really mirrors the interstate highway system, will allow us to rationalize how many central stations need to be built, allow us to bring solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy from where it's found to places that it's needed. I think this is a very important point, and that really is part of the reason that we continue at American Electric Power to talk about the issue of having this interstate highway system, not unlike what President Eisenhower came up with in the 50s, returning from the war. Friends of ours, like Boone Pickens, have done an excellent job with the Pickens plan to bring an additional focus not only on how to bring renewables into the marketplace, but the reality of finally addressing the issue of our dependence on imported oil. I appreciate that oil is a world commodity, and I appreciate that we'll probably always consume some, but we can make a huge difference, and in fact we should make a huge difference in the amount of other sources of energy that we put into the automobile. Plug-in electric hybrid vehicles will go a long way to that end. Without any new power production facilities being built, we can take 30 or 40% of the cars and turn them into plug-in electric hybrids. We also can take compressed natural gas, which is used really worldwide in a much higher percentage than it is here in the country, and change that technology as well. These are all really very solid ideas, and taken together, they can really approach this issue that so dogs our country is how do we make certain we have adequate energy? How do we get renewables in? How do we at long last take on that challenge of energy independence? So I'm happy to be here working with President Clinton, the Majority Leader of the Senate, T. Boone Pickens, and many others to have a dialogue on this very important issue.
There is a technology of high-voltage DC transmission that the United States is just beginning to install. Europe is ahead of us. Asia is ahead of us. This is much more efficient transmission lines going above the 765 kilovolt transmission lines we have today. They could be much more efficient.
Finally, the Unified National Smart Grid, whatever it ends up being called, has a gestalt about it. When it's all together, it gives us the ability to put that cost-saving incentive into it and make clearly and plainly visible, easy to understand for all of us exactly where the savings can be made. Secondly, it gives us the opportunity to link the rooftop, this has been said, the rooftop installations, and eventually shift to a widely distributed energy production system.
So the real issue when we talk about an interstate electric transmission grid, and that's why I try to bring the analogy of Dwight Eisenhower's interstate highway system, because we all know that the electric transmission system today is not a third world country grid. It's much better than that, but it was built in a localized sense. It was built to serve regional needs. So a power plant in upstate New York really can't serve much market other than the upstate New York region, mid-state, maybe into Manhattan. But the technology is there today to have the wind of the Dakotas actually light the lights in Chicago. We just simply need that interstate system, no different than how would one get from Chicago to Bismarck without the interstate highway system that does it today. And it's that commonality that is yet totally grasped and understood by the people of our country. Governor Pataki, who speaks out on this issue frequently, offers two really incredible examples. One, there's no way any of us knew that California could become the seventh or eighth largest economy in the world but for the interstate highway system being built so that we could bring products to and from California, people to and from California. Even years and years ago, when then Governor Clinton, not related to our past president or our current Secretary of State, created the Erie Canal to make New York actually the financial capital of not only the United States but the world. So when we talk in terms of an interstate electric highway system, we can't imagine what it will bring us in the long run. I do know this. It could bring the wind energy of the Dakotas and the solar energy of the Nevadas and Arizonas to the marketplaces in Los Angeles, to the marketplaces in Nevada, all the way into Texas. We could move nuclear power from the southeast of the country, where it is built and will continue to be, into the demand regions of the upper East Coast, Atlantic coast of the country. So there are so many things that will be accomplished when we get this work done, and that's the common point that we're trying to help educate the general population about. The whole issue of not in my backyard, and I understand that issue, simply won't get the job done if we're going to tackle this challenge.